Hi everyone. So for this book review, I'm going to go over A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I read this about a week ago and it was really good. I think a good wrap up of it is on the cover. It says, "This book scared the living hell out of me and I'm pretty hard to scare," by Stephen King, who, it's kind of a pun, but he's the king of horror, right? So this is a horror book from the point of view of Marjorie. No, Marjorie's her sister. From Meredith, or Mary. She's kind of telling the story as an adult, but as everything took place, she was 8. And she's kind of going over what the experience was from her point of view on what happened with her family. Basically, there was a lot of events going on with the family that, and I don't want to give too much away, but pretty much there was the idea of a possession going on, and the family was dealing with that and trying to live their normal lives, getting the kids to school. Mom and dad were trying to go to their jobs and all that, and this is kind of how they went around it. So Mary's telling everything from the point of view when she's growing up. She's telling somebody who's trying to write a book about her life. So I think it's 15 years later when she's telling the story over again, and it's just, when you read a book that a friend recommends and then you finish it and you just want to talk about it. That was me pretty much. I got to work at 5 a.m. and was messaging my friend right away. I'm like, so do you think it was this, or this that happened at the end? Because they kind of leave it open to, for you to interpret. They drop hints of what it could have been, but I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure what happens. And my friend kind of solidified it, but I was like, yeah, but it still could have been this or this, So I gave it 4 stars out of 5. I think that's pretty solid. I believe, let me check this on Goodreads. Yeah, it's sitting at a 3.8 out of 5 on Goodreads right now, which seems kind of regular for Paul. He doesn't get that good of reviews. And I honestly had never even heard of this guy till I read this book. My friend recommended it, and he's like, yeah, he's one of my favorite authors. I'm like, I've never even heard of him. Went to the bookstore and there was 2 or 3 books on the shelf. Happened to grab this one and I really enjoyed it. I think anybody who enjoys a psychological thriller or horror book would. It was pretty different to get it from an 8-year-old's point of view. There's a lot of innocence behind it. There's one part where somebody makes a joke at her, oh, you're gonna be trouble for all the boys, and then she has this image in her head where she's going around the playground handing out these bags of candy that are laced in trouble. It's just so innocent, but at the same time she has this refreshing view on life and still understands things, just not from the point of view you'd expect, right? And then it kind of jumps to the present day when she's talking to this lady or doing her adult things or whatever, and then it goes back to when she was a kid. So I would probably read this again. Actually, it really had elements that stuck with me and that I still think about after a week, and in my opinion that's a good book, right? So yeah, A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I recommend it. 4 out of 5 stars. Solid 4 out of 5 stars. I will definitely be reading more stuff by him in the future. So thanks for stopping by and watching the video, and I hope you have a good book to read. Thanks.